All right, welcome to The Explainer. This is where we take big, complicated topics and make them super clear. Today, we're jumping into a survival guide for your first year in test automation. Think of this as your roadmap to avoid the common pitfalls and really build a solid foundation for success.
So if you're just starting out in test automation, you're probably feeling two things, right? You're excited about all the cool stuff you can do, but you've also heard, yeah, it can be pretty tough. This quote just hits the nail on the head. It is hard when you haven't done it before. It's a journey, for sure, and every good journey needs a map. And for our map today, we're leaning on this fantastic book, Experiences of Test Automation. Seriously, this thing is a gold mine. It's packed with real-world stories and case studies that share all the hard-won lessons about what actually works, and maybe even more importantly, what totally doesn't.
I mean, the promise of automation is just so appealing, isn't it? The dream is to have this incredible safety net of tests just running on their own, giving you and your team that rock-solid confidence in your product. It's all about getting you out of that cycle of repetitive tasks so you can focus on the more creative, brain-powered stuff.
But here's the tough part. The reality is, a lot of projects stumble right out of the gate. They fall into what folks in the industry sometimes call the valley of despair. It's where you hit these really common, totally predictable traps that can just kill a project before it even has a chance.
So, what's the number one reason projects fail? According to all these case studies, it's this: unrealistic expectations and, you guessed it, unclear goals. Just jumping in headfirst without a real plan? Well, that's the fastest way to get completely lost, burn through your budget, and lose the support of anyone who matters.
And this slide really shows you what I mean. Look at the difference here. On one side, you've got these fuzzy goals like faster testing or save time. I mean, what does that even mean? That's not going to work. What you need are crystal clear objectives, like run the full regression suite every single night. That is something you can measure. It guides your work, and crucially, it gives you hard evidence to show management that what you're doing is actually working. And this next quote, oh, it's just perfect. If you automate chaos, all you get is faster chaos. Think about that for a second. If your current process is a mess, throwing automation at it won't fix anything. Nope. You'll just have a mess that happens much, much faster. The key is to understand and fix your process first, and only then bring in the automation. And yeah, there are plenty of other pitfalls to watch out for. For example, falling in love with simple record and playback tools. Sure, you get a quick win, but trust me, you're building a maintenance nightmare down the road. Or another classic mistake, trying to automate the most complicated, buggiest feature right away. These kinds of missteps can absolutely sink your project before you've even left the harbor. Okay, so how do we get out of this valley of despair? How do you turn things around? It all starts with a huge mental shift. You have to realize a fundamental truth. Test automation is not just testing. It is a full-blown software development project. And that means you need to start thinking like a developer, like an architect. And that brings us to this idea of testware architecture. See, what you're building isn't just a random pile of scripts. It's testware. It's a structured system, your code, your data, your tools, and it needs a solid architecture designed for the long haul. We're talking flexibility, maintainability. This is the foundation you build everything else on. And here it is, the big mindset shift right here. Automation test scripts are software programs and must be treated as such. This is so important. Your test code is not some second-class citizen. It needs and deserves the exact same level of care, discipline, and good practice as the production code it's designed to test. So what does that look like in practice? It means treating your testware like production code. You use version control, right? You design things to be modular and reusable. You set up coding standards and you actually follow them. These aren't just suggestions. These are the things that make your automation strong, scalable, and something the whole team can actually work on without wanting to pull their hair out. Okay, so once you have that solid architectural foundation in place, you can finally start climbing towards the summit. And the next big step is all about proving your value. We're talking about delivering real, measurable results that management can actually understand and get excited about. Because look, at the end of the day, management needs to see a return on their investment. It's not enough to just get the tests running. That's your job, sure, but your other job is to make the benefits visible. You have to track your impact and tell a compelling story with data. And sometimes the simplest comparisons are the most powerful. Check this out. One case study found a test that took a human almost 2 minutes to run manually. With automation,
11 seconds. Just 11. Now imagine that saving, but multiplied by hundreds or thousands of tests running every single day. The savings become impossible to ignore.
And we're not just talking small savings. This really shows the long-term payoff. One organization that kept really good records calculated their ROI, get this, at over 900% after 3 years. 900%. Now that is the kind of number that gets people's attention and makes sure your project gets the funding it needs to keep going.
And it's not just about saving time and money. You can also show how you're making the product better. This chart, for example, is tracking mean time between failures, which is just a fancy way of saying how long the system runs without breaking. By showing a chart like this, you can visually prove that your automation is improving the quality and the stability of the software. You're not just testing faster, you're building a better product, and you've got the charts to prove it.
But here's the thing. Reaching that summit, proving your value, that's not the finish line. Not even close. Real, long-term success is all about what happens next. It's about the path forward.
You have to remember that automation isn't a project with an end date. You don't just finish it one day. It's a continuous journey. The real goal is to build a living, breathing process that grows and evolves right alongside the product it's testing, providing more and more value over time.
So, what are your first steps? What do you do on Monday morning? Well, the advice from basically every successful team is the same. Start small. Please, don't try to automate the entire application at once. Pick one small pilot project. Define one very clear goal. Find a quick win, something simple and repetitive, just to build some momentum. And look, you're going to have setbacks. It's guaranteed. But if you treat every failure as a chance to learn, then you're never really failing, are you?
So I'll leave you with this one final thought, a question to take with you. What is that one small, boring, repetitive task you do every single day? Think about it. That's not a chore. That's an opportunity. That's your starting point. That's where your journey into test automation begins.